I didn't have a place to go like the club for a long time. I wish I did. Growing up was tough. I was forced to live in a disgusting environment, a house that reeks of suffering and abandonment. I wore the stench of the house like a coat. My hygiene was unbearable, but coats are a protective shield, and I was socially awkward and had trouble making friends. The people that I was supposed to trust the most neglected and abused me. Looking back now, how could I expect anything different? After all, my mother was a heavy drug user, and to this day, my father is a heavy alcoholic. My mother passed away in a car accident when I was 7. When I was 10, I moved in with a better, loving family. Things started looking up. I finally had someone who cared for me. And the current chapter in my life began when I was introduced to the Boys and Girls Club. I was anxious, more worried that this would be just another place I didn't fit in. However, I quickly made friends at the club, and through programs like Keystone, Power Hour, and Career Launch, a foundation of confidence and leadership was built. Through positive relationships with staff, members, I've received important guidance and unconditional love and support. It was because of those relationships that I participated in the Youth of the Year program. At first, it was just a thing to do. My clubhouse didn't have very many teens, and I was honored to be considered. But then, I began to grow, along with the opportunities presented to me. I attended the Youth of the Year retreat and met some amazing friends. We all had different stories, but each had different obstacles we had overcome, and in them, I found peers that I could relate to immediately. I had people to support and people who supported me as I built my skills. Being awarded Youth of the Year for Skagit County was wonderful, and I received scholarship money as a result, which was definitely a bonus. Preparing for the state program was a whirlwind. I spoke to service clubs, our county commissioners, and even the entire student body at my high school. While speaking to more than 1,700 of your peers is certainly a rush, it was nothing compared to the moment my name was called on this very stage 1 year ago. Being named the Washington State Youth of the Year was an incredible honor. Making it just that much more special, I was the first from my organization to be named as State Youth of the Year, something that was celebrated quite a bit and made me a little famous in my area as a result. Knowing there was so many deserving candidates meant that I placed even more priority on being genuine, respectful, and serious about my role, as I now represented a lot more kids than the ones that attended our clubs. In June, Youths of the Year from all over converged to Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia for the first ever Advanced Leaders Institute. It was like a combination condensed summer camp for older kids mixed with college freshman orientation, all crammed into 2 days. Meeting the other youth participants was great, especially because I would get to see the 8 from my region just a month later in July. Because I already knew them, it made me a lot less nervous. To best represent Washington, I went through another round of speech delivery, worked with members from Toastmasters, and faced a few interview gauntlets. As my staff advisor Ron would tell me, it wasn't so that I would necessarily win. It was so that I would feel the most prepared possible. And if I was, and I did my best, that was the success we were looking for. When we arrived in Newport Beach at the hotel, I was pretty impressed. Unlike the typical accommodation on a club trip, these were pretty posh. My peers and I had been elevated to rock star status. The first couple of days in California were spent in final preparations, and we received additional feedback and coaching sessions, as well as some amazing behind-the-scenes moment. One of my favorites was the trip to Taco Bell world headquarters, where we met some of their leadership team, visited a test kitchen, and even got to try a few products that hadn't been released to the public yet. It was also my first big experience at networking. I came prepared with business cards, and there were few people who could escape without one in their hand. Hearing from them after the event and making connections with people like the Vice President for International Relations was pretty powerful and strengthened my own confidence. During the Youth of the Year week, we spent a little time at Disneyland and the beach. With traffic troubles and long lines, we only rode 2 or 3 rides. And by the time we made it to the beach, the sun was setting, but it didn't really matter. We had made strong bonds with one another, and the friendships are more important than any perks. The day of the regional program was pretty similar to what we do in Washington State, which is to say that there's a lot of hurry up and wait. So I felt right at home. Had I actually been named Pacific Region Youth of the Year, I might be able to say that I could be a bit happier, but there's no reason to not admit that. I wasn't. It helped a bit that our organization had planned a couple of extra days after the event to take in the sights, so I got to visit a number of different places, including Warner Brothers Studios, and spend time in the Batman and Harry Potter Museum. That was pretty incredible and bridged the gap between goofy kid and adult nerd. All along, we had talked about the importance of the experience itself, and looking back, I know that to have been even more key than anything else. I remain committed and steadfast in reaching my ultimate goal in becoming a pediatric nurse, with the Youth of the Year program remaining a key component of my preparation and skill ability. For all the youth participating tonight, don't let this be the end of your Youth of the Year journey. Get out and continue to tell your story. Meet the influences in your community and network, and be a great advocate for your organization. Be genuine, have fun, and celebrate one another. This experience is what you make of it, so make it great. Thank you.